Big changes are coming to the Home Depot this year. They've really been struggling recently and they have to turn things around if they want to see any kind of improvement. Last year, their foot traffic was down and their sales were flat because of concerns that their customers have over the economy. And they've already started making some big changes. They announced recently that they would be laying off around 800 employees at their Atlanta headquarters. And they've also announced that they're expecting their corporate employees to return to in-office work 5 days a week starting this spring. But those things relate to changing their workforce. But what about the changes to their stores and the store experience that impacts us shoppers? Well, they're actually planning a bunch of new out-of-the-box ideas in an attempt to bring in customers and improve the customer experience. But the big question is, will these work? Will they pay off? Will these new tactics allow them to compete with Lowe's, Menards, and Amazon, or will the customer hate it? And will their efforts fall flat on their face, just be a waste of money? Well, in this video, we're going to talk about what they're changing and how it's going to impact you. So stick around. So I worked for a retail company for a while that had over 1,000 stores, and I learned something when I was there. Large companies like to do experiments. They have an idea and then they pick out a few stores to test it out on and see how it goes. If it's successful, then they expand it to a much larger group, maybe even nationwide. If it isn't successful, then hopefully they learned something from it and they didn't waste too much money on it. A lot of companies have done some strange and gimmicky things in the past in an attempt to attract customers. One great example is IKEA. They actually allowed customers to spend the night in their stores, in part to discourage people who were hiding in their stores in order to spend the night.
Like it says in the Springfield Police Handbook, if you can't beat them, join them.
Or then there's Pepsi that promised to give away a Harrier jet, or Build-A-Bear that allows kids to pay their age on certain days. Sometimes these tactics pay off, but other times they fall flat and can even end up costing companies a fortune. One really interesting example is JCPenney. About 15 years ago, they hired a guy named Ron Johnson who had worked for Apple and designed all the Apple stores. When he got to JCPenney, he spent hundreds of millions of dollars remodeling JCPenney stores to make them look a bit more modern, kind of like Apple stores, in an attempt to attract younger customers. He also did away with coupons and tried to implement what he called fair and square pricing. Well, it flopped hard. Their sales dropped by 27%, they alienated their existing customer base, and they failed to attract new customers. He was only CEO for 2 years and he left the company in shambles. It was a huge mess, and JCPenney has not been able to dig themselves out of it. In fact, I went to a JCPenney around Christmas time and the place was dead. And I honestly don't know how they're still in business. So what about the Home Depot? Well, they're trying out a few new things. The first one I think is kind of interesting, and that is that they recently announced a partnership with Wahlburgers. This is the burger joint that's owned by Mark Wahlberg and his brothers. They plan to park Wahlburgers food trucks in Home Depot parking lots to serve a limited breakfast and lunch menu. They've already piloted it in a few locations in Florida and will be expanding it out to many others in 2026. Now, this one's kind of funny to me for a few different reasons. First is that it has nothing to do with the home improvement business, and I can't imagine that it's really any kind of draw for customers. The second is that at many of the Home Depots that I go to, at least here in Texas, they've got taco stands, and I wonder if they're going to be adding new vendors or just kicking out the taco guys in favor of the burger guys. Depending upon how they manage that, they could risk alienating their existing customers. But more on that later. For now, I want to know what you think. Do you see a Wahlburgers as a draw? I mean, like, would you choose a Home Depot over a Lowe's, for example, if they had a Wahlburgers food truck? Leave me a comment and let me know. I'm genuinely interested. The Home Depot is also trying to use technology, including a few new AI tools, in order to attract customers and make the customer experience better. One is meant for all customers and is called Magic Apron, and the other is a planning tool that's meant only for pros. There are some significant questions, though, as to how useful or accurate these tools will be, and I've got a few interesting examples of that. But before we get into those details, I want to talk about this video's sponsor, electric e-bikes. So spring is just around the corner. The snow is melting and the birds are chirping. It's a great time to start thinking about how you want to spend your summer. For me, I plan to take bike rides and picnics with the family on my electric e-bike. I love this bike. It's so fun to ride, and with its big battery, I can ride for hours on end without worrying about my charge. There are so many great features with this bike. It folds up neatly so you can easily store it, and they have tons of accessories that you can add, like this buddy seat. I've been taking my daughter to school each morning and she loves it too. Wherever you live, whether it's in a neighborhood, in the city, or in the country, electric e-bike would be great for you. So check them out by using the link in the description or the QR code on the screen. And if you order your new electric e-bike using my code DIY with Dave at checkout, you'll also get a free bike cover. So check them out. You'll be glad you did. And thanks again to Electric E-Bikes for sponsoring this video. All right, so the Home Depot is trying to leverage technology to make the customer experience better. One of the things that they're doing is adding new AI tools. I mentioned that one of their tools is called Magic Apron. Their website calls it a first-of-its-kind technology powered by a proprietary home improvement knowledge base, combining large-scale data sets with the Home Depot's own expertise and product information. And they say it's like having your trusted store associate on hand delivering reliable, accurate answers. They have a few examples on their website of the types of questions that people can ask and the types of responses that people can get from the tool. Now, I do see some value in this, and it's actually kind of low-hanging fruit if you ask me. They have all of their product information already in the system, and they could just train their AI model to answer questions based upon that information that they already have. But some people have already seen problems with it. In fact, one Reddit user posted this image of a conversation with the AI. When it referred to this outlet as being ungrounded, and then the user asked to clarify what that meant, the AI bot contradicted itself. It said something that made no sense. Now, this may be something small and perhaps just confusing to the customer, but I could potentially see a circumstance where the AI bot could give out some advice or information that's not just wrong or confusing, but is also potentially dangerous. This is how bots sometimes are at the beginning, though, until they're trained better and all the bugs are worked out. But I want to know from you, would you use a tool like this? Do you see value in it? Would you trust the answers that it gave you? Now, this isn't the only AI tool that the Home Depot is putting into place. They're also implementing an AI-powered tool that they're calling Material List Builder AI. The purpose of this tool is to help professional renovators, remodelers, builders, and specialty tradespeople create actionable project material lists within minutes. This Material List Builder leverages AI technology to, as they say, interpret the project intent and generate an accurate grouped list of materials needed for the entire job, helping pros stay on time and on budget. Now, you can paste details from an existing list, from something like a spreadsheet or texts or emails or notes, and it will spit out a plan for you. They have an example of how it works on their website. And I'm not going to play the whole thing for you here, but you can kind of see how it works. It guides you through the project, you select what you need, and it gives you a quote at the end with a list of materials. Now, I do have some thoughts on this. On the surface, it looks pretty good and something that could be very helpful, but I don't think that you could blindly use a tool like this. You really need to know what you're doing, and if you just blindly accept everything that it tells you, you're going to risk buying the wrong thing or too much of something. And with a tool like this, you really don't know if the Home Depot is putting their thumb on the scale and directing you to buy more than you really need, unless you really know what you're doing. So that's definitely a risk in using a tool like this. At the same time, though, I can definitely see how this could save someone a ton of time in planning and pricing out a project, especially if you work alone. And so maybe it's worth it for some people to use a tool like this. Maybe it saves enough time that it really is very valuable. Again, though, I want to know what you think. Is this something that you would use? Is this something that you see value in? Would it save you time? Okay, so we've talked a lot about the changes that Home Depot is putting in place. They're laying off employees and requiring the rest to be in the office full time. They've got the gimmicky changes like the wall burgers in the parking lot, and then they've got a new AI technology like their Magic Apron and their AI project planning tool. Now, the thing is that all of this is meant for one thing and one thing only. They're out to make more money for the Home Depot and increase their stock price so that their investors can make more money. And ever since the layoffs were announced, their stock price has been higher. Either way, their CEO will continue to rake in the money. His salary is currently over $15 million a year, and that shows no sign of going down, regardless of how well the company does in many cases. He'll still get his payday. So the big question here is whether all of these things that they're doing, the new AI tools and the other gimmicky things, whether it's going to pay off. Will it translate into better foot traffic, more sales, and higher revenues? That's really the question. It may, but the Home Depot also has some controversies right now, and they risk alienating a huge part of their customer base. One issue has been ICE raids in Home Depot parking lots. Now, Home Depot has always been a place for people who are looking for work, and some of those people that are gathering in Home Depot parking lots may be here illegally. And so ICE has been raiding some Home Depot parking lots and arresting people. The Home Depot claims that they're not coordinating with ICE in any way, but some people think that they should do more to protect their customers. Now, I don't know exactly what they could or should be doing, but regardless, a lot of people are upset about it, and many people are staging boycotts because of it. Added to that, they've recently started using AI-enabled flock cameras in some locations, which they say are being used to detect and deter retail theft, which I have talked about extensively on this channel, but data from these cameras could also be shared with law enforcement. Now, they won't comment on whether or not that's happening, but again, some people think that it is, and they're boycotting them as a result. So again, the question is, will all of these changes make a positive difference? Will the controversies make people not want to shop at the Home Depot and ultimately hurt their business? Now, here's what I think. I think in most cases like this, the small incremental changes that a company makes may move the needle slightly. They may get a bit more business because they're AI tools. They may get that one dude that really loves Wahlburgers, but generally they don't have a huge impact. Same thing on the controversies. Now, some customers may be dissuaded from going to the Home Depot because they belong to a targeted demographic, or they want to boycott them because they don't feel that the company aligns with their values. But again, it would have to happen in massive numbers to make a noticeable difference at such a large company. The biggest indicator as to how they're going to perform in the future, in my opinion, is the economy and the housing market. And honestly, 2026 does not look pretty. While inflation is lower than it has been, people are seeing higher prices in many categories, especially commodities and home improvement categories. The housing market is stagnant and doesn't show any real signs of picking up this year. And I think that these macroeconomic environmental factors will have a far bigger impact to their business than the small incremental changes or the controversies will. Now, I could always be wrong, but in my experience, it's hard to run away from market forces. And like many other companies, the Home Depot will be at the mercy of whatever happens in the economy in 2026. So again, what are your thoughts? Do you see value in the changes that they're making? Do you think that Home Depot's business will improve in 2026 relative to their competitors? Or do you think that their business is going to go down because of, maybe some of the controversies? Leave me a comment and let me know your thoughts. As always, thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.